No sound, you're right. Guys, welcome to Lore Reloaded. Check me out, twitter.com/Lore Reloaded, twitch.tv/Lore Reloaded. I wanted to mess with you. I did it on purpose. I did it on purpose because I like messing with you specifically. So, today we're going to be talking about Star Trek Picard Nepenthe. Before we get into it, a couple things I want to address. Intriguingly, the more I think about Star Trek Picard specifically, and people who both like and don't like it, it's weird to see the dichotomy, because when you watch Star Trek Picard, there is nothing horrific to the original. Not really. Any continuity issues that occur are either on par or less than what we've seen in the original nostalgia Trek, as I like to call it. And all of the content that occurs in Picard has occurred in the other series as well. The writing style and the spirit behind it is what's changed. And so if that's something that bothers you, you're not going to have a good time. But if you can put up with it, then honestly, it is similar to what we've seen before. It's just adult. I'm going to be doing a video on this. My kids have the flu. Well, one's better. The other one still has the flu right now. But it's honestly like Batman and Battlestar Galactica. I finally understand the people who grew up with Batman and the people who grew up with the original Battlestar Galactica, why they don't like the remakes. And the reason for that is quite telling, because the more adult versions really take away from the innocence that the original shows had. 1 second. What's up, baby?
I need my blanket. I don't know where it is.
I don't know where it is either. Is it in your bed? Because you slept with it. You want to go check your bed? Okay. Let me know if you still can't find it. You feeling okay?
No.
No?
No.
Why don't you get your blanket and lay down?
Okay.
Take the iPad too. I love you. Sorry, she's not feeling well. That may happen a couple of times. Going back to what I was saying, though. So Batman, the original series and the cartoon, as well as the original Battlestar Galactica, when they remade those, they made them more adult. They made them more gritty, more realistic. And so people who had an issue with that, who thought the core was taken away, that's basically what's happened with Star Trek, for all intents and purposes. I actually do think it is Star Trek. I honest to God do. I just think it's an adult version. I think that's what they've done to it. Now, here's some of my problems that we're going to see in the upcoming breakdown of the episode, which is, because it's modern writing, it's modern cinematography, it's modern everything, it falls into having the tropes that we see. When I watched Nepenthe, and yeah, it's Rura Nepenthe. When I watched Nepenthe itself, it reminded me of Marvel's Endgame because it had all of the tropes of it. And that's just because it's modern writing. Yosef Petrick helping out the channel. As you guys know, the only way I stay afloat is through support from people like you. 40 people watching, only 5 likes. Do not be scared to hit that like. Yosef Petrick will be funding tutorials on hair gels. Okay. I'm going to have to put that in. I hate you, Yosef, but that'll be fun. Let's take a look at what you guys are saying, and then we're just going to get right into the episode itself. They should have went to Nepenthe, the Klingon prison planet. That would have been a lot better. I agree. That episode had the theme of let's count all the bodies hitting the floor. I'm not sure. This episode had the theme of let's count all the bodies hitting the floor. I get the joke. Actually, something I'm noticing with the series is Picard's effing around is getting a lot of people killed. That's true too. And a lot of people don't like. So a lot of people think I hate RLM or I don't agree with anything they say or whatever. What's funny is some of the stuff they say is not only funny, but it's true. Everywhere Picard goes, he gets yelled at. Almost everywhere. He actually didn't this time. It's the few time. But everywhere he goes, he gets yelled at. Nobody likes him. It's crazy. All right. Let's get right into it. Let's jump into it. Let's get right into the news. Oh my God, I hate myself. All right. So like other episodes, a lot of this is just talking. Star Trek Picard is basically Star Trek talking, is what it is, which is intriguing because TNG had that feel, but there was more action to it, I think. There was more. You had things on top of the diplomacy, things on top of the talking. Not so much with Star Trek Picard. Not yet, at least. The other thing I'll say about this before we completely jump into it is that this is what? Episode 7 out of 10 episodes. We're 70% there, and we're nowhere near. This is not following the hero's journey at all. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily. Generally, you do because you like people to like your work. But, I mean, they're going to have to pack a lot in 8, 9, and 10. They are just going to have a ton of stuff. We're not even having build up anymore. It is staying the status quo, in my opinion. So, the first scene is the scene with the good doctor and, of course, Commander O. What goes on with that is basically, we find out what happened in the background. So, she still actually may be a Romulan spy, though that's looking less and less likely. She's sitting here having her lunch or whatever. Commander O confronts her and tells her, I know you've been talking to Picard. Yada, yada, yada. You did all of this information. I know you've been telling him everything. Basically everything we know. She then mind melds with Star Trek's Kaylee, and Kaylee gets to see all kinds of different images. I'm going to try to break it down to see if we can see what she's looking at. But basically, she sees the end of the world. And at that point, she agrees to help Commander O. Intriguingly, Commander O does take off the sunglasses. It doesn't look like the light impacts her, so she probably, maybe, isn't from the Mirror Universe. I don't know why they have her wearing sunglasses. It just... Behind the scenes, my understanding is some of the showrunner, maybe, or one of the producers or directors, said that she's wearing it because it's sunny out. That just doesn't make any sense, especially for a Vulcan. Vulcan itself has, I think it has like 2 suns or some stupid stuff like that. Most of it's a desert planet, so you'd think she would be used to some form of brightness, as it were. So... basically, Star Trek's Kaylee does agree, and they give her a tracking device. She has to apparently eat it, so it explains that no matter where she goes or what she's doing, she is being tracked, which is, just fantastic. I honestly don't have a lot of issues with this scene. It sets everything up. It explains what we're going to be looking at in the future, explains what's going to happen in the future. When it comes to storytelling... I'm trying to... I myself prefer to tell these types of tidbits earlier in the story. Hey, baby, need me to unlock it?
Yeah.
Did you find your...
Yeah, yeah, but the dog is trying to eat it, so I closed the door.
So you're not letting the dog eat the donut?
No.
Well, that's really good. Take it downstairs. Go lay down, okay? Why don't you try to get some sleep?
Okay.
You feeling any better?
No.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah? So, I don't have a... So, when it comes to the tracking beacon, I generally like to do it a little bit earlier because they're doing it in the same episode. I guess that has to be done for the masses, though, because if you didn't show it in the same episode where it becomes important, people will be like, well, how did they do this? And then it's just a lot of infighting. So, I guess the more I think about it, I guess it has to be done here, especially when you look at some critics that will... they specifically tell you what's going on in the episode, and then they say the exact opposite. So I guess it makes sense. I just talked myself out of that. All right, let me see if I can get some of the images here. So wait for it. Whoa. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to pull it up. I love these 1-second scenes. Just makes it fantastic. There it is. All right, so We have something that kind of reminds me of Discovery right here. I'm not sure what's going on. People are surrounded by some circle which explodes. We'll also see that this is going to happen in the next episode. So what we're seeing here is not only the future, but at least according to the previews of the next episode, these events will occur. Now, it could be that they're just doing this flashback, which I think is silly, if that's what's happening, but I think that these events are probably going to happen. I got no idea what's going on there, but that's what they're saying. We also see a couple of other things that happen. I want to try to break down if I can. Earth, of course, explodes. Interestingly enough, this, again, I'm having a lot of Discovery feel. You have people in a circle and whatever's between them explodes. You then have the Earth exploding. This isn't exactly... I actually went back to the Discovery episode to look at when Control destroys Earth. And this isn't exactly how Control did it, but it does have a lot of Control-esque feel to it. It is similar, to say the least, when it comes to it. It's not exact, but if they were going to do it, it somewhat reminds me of it. And then there was someone yelling, and of course it goes too fast. Give me a second, guys. We then have this guy. I can't really get a good image of him. He has, I'm guessing that is either a tattoo or green blood. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm going to give it a second. It looks like green blood to me. And if you look at the ears, it looks like it's Romulan. It looks like a Romulan in pain to me with blood coming out. We really don't have a ton there. What's going on, Red Team Review? Hope you're doing well. And I went live for you, buddy. I went live for you. I tell you what, I'm going to go through all of it and then you let me know. But keep this in the back of your mind. I'd be curious. Who do you think this is? Do you think this is some Vulcan? Does he have a tattoo? It really looks like blood to me, especially since it's going down his eyes. And then you look at the arching of the eyebrows. Could be Vulcan, maybe. I don't think so, though. I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. More Earth exploding. I'm not going to really get too much into that. Oh, that is horrific. Okay, so, wow, yeah, that's disgusting. So trigger warning. If you're eating something, go ahead and just turn off don't look at the screen, because I didn't realize that. I wish I'd never seen that. I'm about to show it to you guys, but, all right, I'm going to show it, but if you don't want to see disgusting, don't watch it. 3, 2, 1. It's not horrific, but... we're seeing green blood, so this is obviously a Vulcan again. I wonder if it's the same... That may be the same Vulcan person we saw beforehand. Not Vulcan, Romulan. I mean, it could be Vulcan, but I'm guessing Romulan since we're dealing with the Romulans. That makes me wonder if we were even looking at Earth. I mean, it looks like Earth, but that could, of course, be a red herring. It could be another planet blowing up. But for whatever reason... Romulans are going insane and getting hurt or killing themselves or doing something absolutely horrific. Along with that, we have planets blowing up. We do know that trillions of people will die if they don't stop whatever Soji is going to do. So yeah. All right, that disgusting image is off the screen. By the way, let me know how you guys feel when it comes to this stuff, this specific and intimate breakdown. I'm probably going to do a series on this, like a review, but it's going to be a lore review. I'm going to wait for the entire season 1 to be done, though, before I do it. So, this looks like Earth. And we even have what appears to be a Federation shuttle, a couple of Federation shuttles. In the middle, there's a nuclear hit of some sort. I'll say this, though. Here's one of my problems with it. It's Discovery did it, so it's not something new. This is just the same. This is just Control 2.0 from Picard's point of view. I wish they would really have gone with something newer, something that isn't this. Uh, because this isn't interesting. I watched this in Discovery. But looking at it again, it looks like a city's getting leveled. This is just beautiful the way they put this together, though. Look at the... a lot of the different buildings are leaning to the left because they're getting hit by the bomb radius. What's interesting here, and again, what I like about this scene specifically, and just, you have to give the CGI artists a lot of credit in this. When you're watching it, a lot of the buildings that don't have anything in front of them are slowly leaning to the left because they're getting hit by that blast radius right there. Some of them you'll notice, especially in the bottom left, you notice they're not leaning to the left, which at first wouldn't make a ton of sense. You're like, what the hell's going on? But it would logically follow because they have all those buildings in front taking the brunt of it. Eventually, they'll probably get hit, but in this scene specifically, the impact hasn't hit them yet because they have a little bit of a shield, which you may not notice, but your brain did. It's wonderfully put together. I gotta say, the cinematography, the way it's filmed, the use of light, the use of shadows, even the dialogue, a lot of the dialogue and just character interactions are so well done. I don't know that I'd watch it if it didn't have a Star Trek skin on it, but it's still very well done. I think that's going to be the end of the flashbacks. I will switch to you guys for a second if it is. As you guys know, I'm trying to go through all of this. One at a time, so I'll go through a scene or a part that I like, walk through it, and then talk to you guys so that I'm not going back and forth. There is another scene, and it is another graphic scene. Oh my god, what is it with Picard and Discovery and graphic scenes? I mean, they love graphic scenes. They're not getting off unless you're looking at gore in some fashion or another. So, another gory scene that I just realized. I'm going to show it in 3, 2, 1. It's not the worst, but you have another Romulan committing suicide. So, here's the thing. So, they are watching the destruction of planets, of trillions of people. But in all of it, they're seeing Romulans that are suffering, Romulans that are committing suicide. Romulans that are grabbing at their face. There's a couple of things to that. One interpretation is that the Romulans are going to be the ones who did this, who brought this onto the universe, and so they can't handle it and they're going insane with what they did. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation I think you could take from it is probably, since this originated with the Zhat Vash, and they're the ones that found this secret that happened 10,000 years ago or however long, then maybe they only see the impact on Romulans, and that's why we're seeing a lot of Romulan death. If she's seeing these images, and that's as it's being presented, it's not a storytelling tool for us to keep us interested, but she's only getting these brief images and these brief feelings. It's not being explained. If I'm the Vulcan, if I'm Commander O, and I'm truly a good guy that just wants what's best for Starfleet and the Federation, I have to ask myself why we're only seeing Romulans suffering here. There has to be something going on. Now, that said, this could just be a storytelling tool. Both Commander O and Star Trek's Kaylee, Agnes, know the entire story. They know exactly what's going to happen. And it's just us they're keeping in the dark so that we can continue to move it forward. Because if they told us all of it, probably wouldn't be as intriguing. All right, the image is gone. We see the Earth. I'm guessing that's Earth. Completely blow up. So apparently, when you nuke a planet from orbit, it ignites the plasma, or not plasma, but whatever it is from within, inside of it, the magma, and then the magma explodes and destroys everything from the inside out, as you do. Because that's exactly how physics and everything works. To be fair, it's probably some kind of super weapon that impacted Earth, went under, and then caused it to explode. Again, we've seen this in original Trek. I mean, can we do something instead of just blowing up planets. Can we? It is weird for me to say this, but it is so old hat to blow up planets. It is overdone. Also, there's Kaylee or Agnes's OFace. Yep. If you ever wondered what the OFace looks like, it's right there. All right. Let's see what you guys are doing. Let's break it down. Let's look at it a little bit. I'd love your opinions. 70 people watching, only 27 likes. Don't be scared to hit that like button. Just hit it. Hit it. All right. We got Trek Culture in the house. Think that confirms the blood, says Trek Culture. I'm not sure what we said beforehand. Terminator 2 in it. Okay, this looks interesting to watch, says Hottest Farmer. It can be. I don't know. It's old hat for me. It's just a northerner. I love that. That's a Picard joke. It's an inside Picard joke. They failed their mission, so they killed themselves. Yeah, Lord, so when it comes to the Romulans, I'm willing to accept that they failed the mission, so they committed suicide. But then that comes down to if they see themselves failing the mission, then obviously this isn't working. I don't know how you would fix that. I don't know if you could fix that. It goes back to that TNG episode, I forget, where they're repeating time and they don't know if they've tried to fix it already or not, that they're just going through the same day over and over and over. R. McDudd says, good old PPCs. That's a Mech Warrior reference. And yes, PPCs are definitely where it's at. Depending on which game you play, PPCs sometimes are like balls that you throw at people, and sometimes they are straight up laser-like things. If they link this with V'ger, I would be truly surprised. I don't think they're going to link it with V'ger. I really don't think so. Some go mad, some get inspired, some run away, like the Doctor. Doctor does not run away. We'll discuss that in a second. Remember when weapons used to vaporize people instead of leaving big holes? Yeah. Well, I mean, so let's be frank here. I think we're dealing with the Zhat Vash. We're dealing with the Tal Shiar. I wouldn't be surprised if they utilized weapons that caused pain or would put holes in people, even though they have the ability to vaporize. The Zhat Vash and the Tal Shiar, they're just evil. They're literally evil. And so using weapons like that, it would also be effective because if you use weapons that actually cause pain or look horrific and don't just vaporize, it creates a fear, a rumor mill. It's kind of like when the Changeling didn't kill all of the survivors after the defeat of Chintaka, because she wanted to spread rumors. She wanted to spread fear. And so that makes sense to me. I don't, again, a lot of people like to give guff when I think that the benefit of the doubt is more, is a lot better way to go. I hope you're happy, Jean-Claude. That's what you want, isn't it? Free movement of synths. Zap, you're a bad person. Bad person. Ultra AC-20s is where it's at. Yeah, but you don't run out of ammunition with PPCs, so all right, so yeah, we'll keep it going. I want to see if there's anything really more intriguing. Green blood, but the soft tissue in the eyelid is red. Yeah, because it's still red. That's how the anatomy works, Riley. That's how it works, good sir. Vulcan is supposedly in the 40 Eridanus system, which IRL has 3 suns. It is 17 light years from the sun, so right now they'd be seeing Enterprise. Yeah, it's when it comes to Vulcans, they live in a highlight area, so. Jem'Hadar used weapons that allowed the targets to bleed to death. Yeah, it's not... So there's a lot of things going on here. Again, I don't think that the Tal Shiar or the Zhat Vash necessarily would use weapons that cause you to disintegrate. Why should they? Why wouldn't they use weapons that... Also, the weapons they were using looked like they were doing kill shots, but I wonder if they could do it in a way that incapacitates but doesn't kill as well. Because when you're a couple of things here, a couple of things to this, the even in real life, a lot of militaries will use weapons that is meant to incapacitate and maim people versus killing them. Especially if you're, and this would work because when you do that, you're not just taking out one person. Now you have to have an entire team help that person out. And interestingly, if you're fighting the Federation, that's exactly what you would want to do. Because the Federation isn't going to leave one of their own in pain. They're not going to leave someone behind. So if you're going to use weapons, especially against the Federation, you want to use weapons that maim. That way you're not taking out one Starfleet officer. You're taking out at least 2, maybe 3 or 4. So it just makes more sense. Frostwitch got to admit ignorance on that one. Is there a Tal Shiar after the destruction of Romulus? There is, in fact, a Tal Shiar after Romulus. It's like the crux of the show. So the Tal Shiar and the Zhat Vash still exist after Romulus. They're probably a part of the Romulan Free State now, or they run independently like 6 and 31, but they do exist. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. One of the most beautiful women on planet Earth, Samantha Tadaro, given $2, helping out the channel. She even got a sticker with a fox that likes to hug. It's because she's foxy. Yep. All right. I agree. As conventional warfare strategy is the moment to wound in order to take 4 to 5 people out of the fight. Yeah. And I mean, if they do that now, why would they not do that in the future, especially against Starfleet? It's like fighting Jedi. If you want to kill a Jedi, you don't go after the Jedi. You go after the soft targets, the civilians. If you can get to the civilians and you can do it in a very public way, you can really take out a Jedi. Taking out a Jedi is not the most difficult thing in the world. Starfleet is the same way. If you can take out soft targets or you can maim, then you're gonna take down more people. It's just the way it works. That English gent, someone who could not disagree with me more on most things doing with Picard. Thank you so much for the support. Hey, Laura, it's good to catch your stream again. How much you want to bet the last 2 episodes are nothing more than leading up to a cliffhanger for season 2? I'm worried about that. I really am. I hope not. Oh my God, that is just common. That is exactly how modern writing is. I hope not. I hope they end the season. They'll have a lot of respect if they do. But I don't know. By the way, you can fund stuff. Go to lorereload.com, see what's being funded right now, or come up with your own idea. Just let me know what's going towards. We also have Vova Cat back as a member. Thank you so much for becoming a DeLorean. Hey, if you do not want to be a patron, but you want to get some of the similar advantages, you can become a YouTube member. Just hit that join button below. Same for AK-74M rounds, more smaller rounds, less killing power, but great chance to wound. Yup. Let's continue on. There will be spoilers here, by the way, guys, both in chat and on this. If you're watching this, I assume you know that. I hope you don't come here thinking, oh, this is not gonna be spoilers. All right. Let's get it on. All right. Let me turn that off so I don't get hit with CBS copyright. Because God help me, CBS will do that. All right, so we start back with... hold on. There we go. Give me a quick second. Now, here's where everything starts going off the rails. This is where we're going to start seeing all of the bad Marvel tropes being put into one episode of Star Trek Picard. Honestly, when it comes to the Trek part of this, I don't have a lot of issues with this. There's nothing here that's continuity breaking, not to any major degree at least. And it's fine for disco era Trek. So, with that being said, there are a lot of tropes that I really don't like, but it's modern writing. So we have the USS Normandy, or at least Star Trek's version of Normandy. I forget what is this? The USS Sally Ride? I forget what the hell the name of the ship is. Old lady, whatever, Captain Manspreader's ship. Normandy is what I'm going to call it. It's being held by a tractor beam from the Borg cube. So there's a couple of things here, a couple of nitpicking things I think people might get upset with, though I don't really see why. The first thing is the fact that the and I'll read that after this. The fact that the tractor beam has the ship is just messing with it 5 ways from Sunday. Their systems are going wonky. They're not able to pull away. In theory, you could argue that this isn't how tractor beams worked originally. However, that's not true. There are some instances when the tractor beam was so powerful, it would screw with the ship. So it's not out of continuity, but it was very rare. It was very plot driven. So the speed of plot would decide if that messed with your ship's systems or not. That said, even if that didn't happen, or we disregarded all those instances, I think that this is an advanced Borg cube. We know this cube is Voyager. It's past Voyager, actually, when you think about it, because we know they assimilated the Katarans. So it's possible that they assimilated a species that when the tractor beam hits, it just starts messing with systems. That's also very Borg. Borg would definitively use technology like that. This is also not a Starfleet ship. It's not a military vessel. It is just a civilian ship. So it's possible that when you grab a civilian ship, it really messes with it unless you bought a fortified vessel. So I don't really care about that as much. We have Star Trek Zoe, or Rafi, Captain Manspreader, Rios, and as well as the traitor known as Kaylee or Agnes. They're freaking out because they're not able to get away. It looks like they're about to be killed. This is where people start having the stupid stick. Now, the person who is going to hold the stupid stick for the longest, the winner of the stupid stick of the episode is going to be Rios. But both Rios and Rafi will carry the stupid stick from time to time. You'll actually see them throw it back and forth. It's kind of an interesting volleyball tournament when you see them throwing that stick back and forth in the same episode. Or it's not episode, in the same scene. For now, there are a lot of red flags that even if we don't know the background, we should be seeing. So as they're going through this, and I'm waiting for it to come up again, guys, they're trying to get free, but they're not able to. Rafi isn't able to because the base code of the Borg cube is obviously the Borg language. It's not Romulan, and she's not used to hacking Borg code. I like that because first off, that adds a limitation to Rafi, so it makes her character more diverse. There's something she can't do. As well as the fact that I don't think even intelligence officers, because it looks like she did work in intelligence, would have a ton of experience hacking Borg technology. That is extremely dangerous, and I think probably heavily specialized. I do think they probably have people that deal with the Borg, but it wouldn't be your standard. It wouldn't be your standard officer. If I had to guess, or if I was writing it, it would be specific officers. That's all they did. From the moment they entered into Starfleet Academy, they would be identified and then put on a Borg track where everything they did, everything they ever knew would be Borg. They would have no other use. Now, obviously, things can transfer over, but if they're going to be fighting Romulans, they are going to be incredibly ineffective versus if you put them up against a Borg cube. That, again, that would be they would specialize, and that would be their life. They would know the Borg better than the Queen would know the Borg. So, I think that's more realistic. The fact that she doesn't know isn't a huge issue. Both Rafi and Rios are trying to get out. They're trying to figure out what to do, how to survive this. Whereas Agnes is just freaking out and yelling that she wants to go home. And she even has a fantastic idea of saying, why don't we just tell them we want to go home? They're only after the synthetic. They'll let us go. Even if you don't know the background of the traitor known as Kaylee, even if you don't have no idea who Agnes is, that's a red flag. That's a very big red flag. You could say she's freaking out and doesn't know what she's saying, but when you combine that with everything else, it seems to start coming together. Why do you think they would just let us go? It doesn't seem like that would be the case. All they want is the synthetic. That's intriguing. We just killed some of their... Well, they wouldn't know that. We've been sitting here and infiltrating their Borg cube. Why exactly would they let us go? Well, that doesn't make any sense. She's being very peculiar. Very, very odd. And the fact that that's not picked up is just beyond me. The other piece to that, and I'm going to be jumping ahead a little bit here, is that ultimately they are going to let the ship go. From what I can tell, I've watched it a couple of times. From what I can tell, they don't talk to anyone on the Borg cube. They don't successfully hack anything. It just they just let them go. Not only do they let them go, not only does the tractor beam drop, but they're able to sit there and contact and talk to Elnor for a good, 60 seconds to 2 minutes. Nothing about this makes any sense. Nothing about this. And they pointed out, it says that was too easy. It could be a trap. We'll get into that in a second. We'll get into that trope in a second. But even then, I don't know what I would expect them to do. But simply just being like, okay, well, they let us go. I guess we're not going to, question it. We're just going to get the hell out of Dodge and not brainstorm about this, not try to figure out if we need to do anything different. Because remember, they point out it's a trap, but then they just let it go. They're like, we'll just outrun them. Now, let's talk about that trope. This is full Star Wars. This is 100% full Star Wars. So they are getting, and it's not even current Star Wars. This is episode 3, not episode 3. The original one, episode 1. This is Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia being inside of a ship trying to fight off TIE fighters. All of a sudden, they get away and they're able to just jump out. And they know it's a trap, but they don't do anything about it. They don't do anything at all. They're just like, it's a trap. We're not going to question it. We're just going to get the hell out of Dodge. And we're not going to think past that. And then after they escape, or they think they escape, after they make their way out, if you watch, and hold on, I'm waiting for it to come up. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh my God, why is this so slow? There we go. They're being followed. They're being followed by a ship. So what you saw beforehand, I can't show moving pictures, is that their ship zooms off into warp and they're being followed. This is Star Wars. This is the plot of Star Wars, and it happens a couple of times. Just create something new. This is episode 1. This is not only is this episode 1, this is it happened to Obi-Wan. I forget, it's episode 5, I think. Clone Wars happened during Clone Wars, and also Rogue One. This is why can't you just do something interesting? They're being tracked and they're being followed, and you see the ship following them. It's not. If I wanted to watch Star Wars, I would go watch Star Wars. And again, I keep harping on it, but I'm just saying that if they've got you dead to rights, you are being tractor beamed by a fucking Borg cube. A fracking Borg cube, forget my language. Then they let you go, and you can just go off, and you're surrounded by there are Romulan warships there. We know that. The Borg cube is not inoperable. Its weapon system should still work, but even if they didn't, they have tons of other ships. You see all those sensors around them? I don't think those are there for looks. Those probably have purpose too. And you get to leave like nothing happened after talking to nobody. And then I get the running away, but after you run away, you might want to sit down and say, this seems a little too easy. There's probably some reason they let us go, and we need to think a way around this. But they never do it. They never put that together. It has nothing to do with Trek. It is just a trope, and I guess people just like that. That's why they do that. I guess. I don't know. So let's go back to see what you guys think. That was that scene. We're going to look at the Elnor scene a lot better. I really liked the Elnor scene. I'm going to be honest with you. I liked everything that happened on the cube. I was a huge fan of. We'll get into that a little bit more soon. We have Vova Cat helping out the channel, supporting it. Thank you so much. Saying, did we just see the old warp or was it sublight? It's sublight. We didn't see the old warp. Then I think we had another support person. I want to say someone else supported, but maybe not. Let me go check here. Wait for it, boys. Wait for it. Let me see. Nope. Let me check the other place. Okay. Well, if you supported and you did it someplace other than Super Chat, let me know, and I will definitely talk and address it. But what are you guys saying about it? I did find it funny how they actually hung around for a good 5 minutes to talk to that one Romulan guy. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like, no sense at all. Obi-Wan tags Slave 1 and tracks Jango Fett. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's also the basis of the Last... Yeah, that's the entire thing. So they took the movie The Last Jedi and they're like, hey, that was a good idea. We should do that. Let's do that. A. No. I just call it Star Wars. That's all it was when it came out. Vova Cat, face it, this crew is wanky, and Picard says it. Yeah, I agree. Star Trek is now literally every single sci-fi show in existence, even if they didn't. Even if it's a tiny game. That English gent, I know you like believing that, but there's no evidence that they actually did it. A court of law disagreed, as did an appeals court. So I don't really buy that, honestly. I don't know. Again, it's so tropish that it's... I guess people like it. It's the only reason they do it. There's no evidence or reason. It's a good one. Lore Runner helping out the channel. Thank you so much. I don't have anything witty to say. Just want to support him. By the way, if you guys want to check him out, twitch.tv/Lore Runner. He does a lot of different games and discussions and stuff. It's a lot of fun, even though he says I do stuff for clickbait. But, that's okay. It's whatever. I'm not angry about it. It's a lot of fun. Also, if you go to look up Lore Runner on YouTube, he breaks down episode by episode, and talks about behind the scenes. Really great channel. If I'm doing a breakdown of a specific episode, I will watch his video before I finish it up. The Last Jedi was not a good idea. I agree. All right. So let's go ahead and talk more about what happened with Elnor and stuff. We'll probably be going back and forth on that one. But let's get it up. Let's get it on. So, I probably need to turn that off so I don't watch moving images, because God forbid I show you guys a little bit of it. CBS has gotten better about that, though. I have to say. I have to admit, they've gotten a lot better when it comes to allowing people to use their stuff. We're not going to talk about Honor. Let's talk about Picard and him being on Nepenthe with Soji. So it's on Nepenthe. Yeah, it's that Nepenthe with the regenerative abilities and all of that fun-filled stuff. I'm waiting for it to pull up right here. As you know, it takes forever. It is at this point that Picard takes the stupid stick. So what happens right here, what they say is, basically right before he transports, Picard gets on comm, and this was towards the end, so if you missed it in the last episode, I can understand. He gets on comm, and he says, hey, Captain Manspreader. He literally uses those words. And Captain Manspreader's like, yeah, what's up? And Picard is like, hey, when you're not being misogynistic with the way you sit, can you throw me that idiot stick? Can you break it so you guys have it and you won't notice what's happening on your bridge? But just break it in half and throw me the idiot stick too, if you could. And so Captain Manspreader says down with all females and magically throws the idiot stick, a twig of it. He doesn't throw all of it. And Picard gets it. And then him and Soji go through the transporter to go to Nepenthe. And so they go to Nepenthe, and they run into Red Herring Girl. So this is Red Herring Girl. Now, when we first watched Red Herring Girl, and this is one of the reasons I do not like CBS marketing, and I say it is on par with UPN marketing. So Red Herring Girl right here is in fact not a ranger or some form of Dungeons and Dragons in my Star Trek ability, and we'll learn more about her later. She's actually the daughter of Deanna and Riker. I think it's cool they got together. I think it's cool they kept them together. Their relationship, this goes back to Lore Runner, who I don't think is watching anymore because I think it was just a drive-by. But Lore Runner, if you're still here, you're the one that talked me into Deanna and Riker having the best relationship in Star Trek. From TNG, well, I mean, she was really thirsty. She wanted her some number one. In the first season, maybe the second. But after that, they had a really good relationship. Back and forth, even when it came to others. Ironically, their relationship was such good friends that I think it could be... I don't know that I want to go there. They're very accepting of the other person having other partners and being okay with it. It's really healthy. And they got them together, which I like that. So... we'll talk about that in a little bit more. That's me going off the rails. We have a red herring girl right here, and she first catches them, and it's cute. But when we were looking at the marketing made it seem like this was some kind of indigenous people, right? And it wasn't. And I think that is deceptive in the marketing, in my opinion. Here's where the idiot stick comes in, though. And here's where... I have a little bit of an issue. And so let's go through it for a second. There is one thing I do want to add, because if English Gent is still here, not English Gent, Mark on Twitter, if not Mark, I guess is his name. If not Mark's on here, which I doubt he is, he was upset because Picard introduces himself, and this girl right here, doesn't like instantly acclaim or have doesn't treat him with all that much respect. Picard is a hero of the Federation. He saved Earth 1,000 times. I honestly don't have an issue with the way the daughter interacts with Picard for a couple of reasons. In the real world, MacArthur's not still alive, but let's say in the real world you had MacArthur, or however the hell you say his name. See, I don't even know his name now. From World War II, and he was in his twilight years. He only had a couple years before he was going to die, and some child that's a preteen or early teen doesn't recognize him or doesn't treat him with a huge amount of respect. That seems realistic to me. Not only that, Starfleet has officers that probably save Earth like on the daily. Given how much happens, how vast space is, there are probably other officers that have saved the Federation. Maybe not to the extent that Picard did, but definitely that would have done some massive good, right? Here's the other thing to that, and this is why I say Picard is holding the idiot twig for this scene, and this is going to be the last piece on this I talk about, because there's not a lot here to add. I forget exactly how she phrases it, but she's like, do you have a dad or something to Soji? The dialogue makes it pretty natural, so I don't have an issue with that. And then Picard pauses, and then he says, do you know Data? Where the girl says to Soji, he's like, oh, are you an android? Why is Picard so stupid? Why would you do... Okay, so let's walk through this. Let's go back. Picard knows that if she realizes she's an android and she thinks she is going to get hurt, if she doesn't trust who's around her, she's going to start killing people. That's what Daj did. Daj woke up, realized she was an android of some kind, and killed quite a few people. And she was very efficient at it. Excessively efficient at it. Picard is not... This is why he's holding the twig, because he's not stupid. He knows that if she activates, she may react poorly and completely and utterly eviscerate not only him, but a small child. So why would you even, it's like, do you have a father or do you know where father is? Picard had been like, I got no idea. I don't know. Or if he doesn't want to lie because he doesn't want to lose her trust, simply say, that's definitely a conversation for another time when you're not next to a preteen or early teenager. You know, when you're not about to straight up possibly murder people. He tries to calm her down and he's like, you're okay. You're an android. Everything's going to be all right. And then he tells her another fantastic thing. She's like, Dodge isn't real. He's like, oh no, Dodge was real, but she's dead. She got killed by people. Now remember, Soji thinks all of this is some form of illusion or a trick. So she learned, not only did she learn she was an android, which by itself means people are going to die, possibly, but she also learns that her sister is dead. A normal human being learning who is as close to their sibling as she is, something I can't relate to, but you know, whatever, may react pretty poorly to that. This is not the right place for this at all, especially with an innocent person right next to you. We can be a little smarter than this. We have the technology. This is bad. So when people like go at Picard because they feel like he's lost, you know, any intelligence in his older age and that everyone yells at him, it's legitimate. Why? Jared Cullen helping out the channel. Again, it's the only way that I can keep my kids fed. As you know, I have one here. She has the flu, and that medicine is not cheap, man. Oh my God. Thermoflu? Ugh. Jared Cullen, lore, what are your thoughts on the scene when the Commodore mind melds with Miss Freakout connection to Discovery and Control, setting up Discovery Season 3? Jared, I actually talked about that beforehand. I even mentioned that at the very beginning. Yeah, I do think it looks very Control-esque. It looks like Control 2.0, which is very boring, in my opinion. I wish they had done something new. It doesn't... Stop destroying planets like that. Stop making it similar to Control. Do something more with it. I do think they're going to tie it into season 3 because they're creating a universe. So I think that is definitely going down. So we'll take a look at what you guys have to say when it comes to this, and then we'll just keep on trucking. Thank you so much for your support. I can't do it without you guys, but what are your thoughts when it comes to this? The daughter there looks like a hair metal singer from '89. Okay. He was never good with kids. Yeah, I guess we can go back to that. I mean, he sat there and put her directly in harm's way. So maybe they were right. Maybe he still isn't good with kids because he put her in such danger. It's stupid. By the way, 93 people watching, only 47 likes. Don't be scared of that like button. Hit it. Hit it. Be the button people want you to be. Rock Solid helping out the channel. Feel better, little Lord daughter. Thoughts and prayers with you to get over your cold. Thank you, Rock Solid. She's feeling better, but man, she is pitiful. Both of them got it. I think she only activates with a bag on head on a roof or gets red smoke. Okay. Intriguing. So he knew he was fine. He knew it'd be fine because she didn't have a bag on her head. She only starts killing when she has a bag over her head. That seems fair. You know, I like the way you guys are thinking when it comes to this. We're going to talk about the virus in a minute. The writing in Star Trek Picard is really stupid. The brother of that girl died. Oh, we're going to talk about that. Star Trek or Lord of the Rings, you decide. It's Star Lord of the Rings. Star of the Rings. Star of the Rings indeed. Yeah, so we will keep on going, keep on trucking. Jake Picard getting the Skywalker treatment. Okay. Okay, indeed, good friends. So, I want to say this. I feel extremely bad for the cinematographers, for the crew, the real crew of the production. Here's why. The introductions of the characters, from the showing that they're on a Borg cube to the revelation of Deanna and the revelation of Riker. These are done excellently. It's a good way to introduce the character from a storytelling perspective and through the language of the camera. But none of it has any huge impact because the marketing gives it all away. Probably the revelation of the Borg cube was the best example. They should have never told us that it was going to be with the Borg. They should have let that stay a secret, because it showing a Borg cube would have been so powerful. The revelation of it being Deanna and Riker is still powerful, but it's not hugely so, you know? So I kind of wish they had done a little bit more with it. Let me see. Obviously, they're going in and they're seeing Picard. Let me get the good scene here. Hold on. I guess for me, the only thing I would say, I don't know. I don't know if it's me or not. I'm trying to think this through. And I'm trying to think of how to phrase it too. I know you guys hate it. A lot of people are like, well, why does he have to think through his thoughts? Obviously, something's wrong with him. When it comes to the acting of the original cast, I don't know what it is. The acting of the original cast just comes off either more stiff to me or different. Not as good as the newer cast members. And I don't mean that as an insult, but it's just there's something about it. Maybe it's me. You know, maybe there's something when it comes to me, because I like the reveal of Deanna. I don't hate the interactions, but it just seems off the way they're acting. And it's the acting, not the interactions themselves. So anyway, when it comes to this scene and what's going on, not a ton. Again, this is Star Trek Picard talking. They meet Deanna. He goes and sees Riker. And hold on. A lot of people probably really liked this scene. I got to be honest. I think there was more chemistry between Hugh and Picard. That felt more real than what we're seeing between Riker and Picard, or even Deanna and Picard. It doesn't suck. It's just, I don't think it's as heartfelt. It doesn't feel as jiving. There's just something just off about it. The cinematography is excellent as always. And the dialogue and everything, I don't hate it. It does feel like Riker and Deanna are in their towards the end of their years. They're retiring. The way it's presented, I think, is done realistically. I could honestly see Deanna and Riker finding a place and calling it home, and just just being willing to just let things go by. You know, they've served their time. They've done what's required. And so I don't think the way it's presented is necessarily negative or unrealistic. Also, Frakes has put on a little weight. I love how the way they're framing it, they're hiding it, but he's kept on a few of those pounds, probably from the homemade cooking he has. Another interesting piece that I do enjoy, that I did like, is how he reacts to Picard. So towards the end of TNG, and even in the movies, they basically become a family, which they had never been. And that was a part of the entire overall story arc of TNG. Where they're professionals, they work together, but at the last finale and then into the movies, they become more of a family. And so Picard comes here, and if this had been mid-season TNG, I probably would have had an issue with it. But because of those arcs and because of what we've seen, Picard says, I'm in trouble. And so Riker's instantly there for him. So he activates shielding. I'm assuming it's around the around his area, along with scans and anti-cloaking scans. We'll talk about that in a second. They do drop the Xindi, saying they've been having issues with Xindi, so that's interesting. So, I mean, I don't know what issues they've been having with Xindis. I guess Riker just gets out his gun and takes care of issues. See him sitting in a chair, rocking back and forth with a sniper rifle, just waiting for them darn Xindi to come on his land again. I love that there's anti-cloaking scanners. Just like there's anti-cloaking scanners in Star Wars. Also, I want to put this out there because this doesn't make any sense in Star Wars either. If you have anti-cloaking scanners, why would you have to individually activate those? Why wouldn't they just be a part of the normal scan? You know, you could probably make a lot of money, since money exists, if you took anti-cloaking scanners and just made it a part of the regular scanner. So the scanners scan for what they regularly do, and then they also have the added bonus of doing anti-cloak scans. Even if you don't think you need the anti-cloak scan, who would not want to have anti-cloak scans? Who just wouldn't do that? Trek Culture saying that's a serious pitch. Serious pitch. So it's Star Trek Riker, and it just has him hunting Xindi. That's all it is. It's like a nature walk. Now notice the Xindi in their natural state. Beautiful creatures. Riker takes his gun. One right between the eyes, a perfect shot. The other Xindi are scared and they're running. They use their natural cloaking abilities. Anyway, Star Trek Riker's porch. That it won't be Star Trek Riker. It'll be Star Trek Riker's porch. So the camaraderie here and the fact that Riker will instantly bring things up and take shelter for Picard and Picard's associate, you know, I don't think anyone's going to say that isn't realistic and that doesn't come together well. Again, the actors do, for me, for some reason, feel a little bit off. But the dialogue, the interaction, the way their actions themselves is very realistic, is very, I guess, Trek. It's what I would expect when I saw it. So they have the spirit of it there. That's the word I'm looking for. They do definitely have the spirit of it there. Hippity hoppity, get off Riker's property. That's what he yells. That's what he yells. I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but it's hilarious. Can you just see it? Like Jonathan Frakes as Riker, and he sees like Xindi, like 3 or 4 of them just running around, scurrying around, trying to get technology. And he just says that to himself. He says, hippity hoppity, get off Riker's property. And then he kills one dead. That's what he does. All right. What do you guys think about the interactions? Because again, there's not a lot here. I'll bring it back to you. Did you like the, how they introduced Deanna and Riker? Did you like that just coming together? I guess. I think I'm probably in the minority when it comes to their acting. I just feel like there was something off. Vova Cat helping out the channel. Thank you so much. Says Del Arco Hughes acted the best in the show. I'd agree with that. Going back to Hugh talking about the Borg interactions and everything. Frakes needs to hit the treadmill with me, man. I don't hate it. You know, I need to hit that treadmill too. Me and him can do it together. The Zinti, not the Xindi. Maybe just the subtitles are bad on YT. I didn't watch this on YT. I didn't have the subtitles on, but the Kazinti, it's Kazinti, not Zinti. It sounded like he said Xindi with a Z. Another version of the thing though, hippity hoppity, get off. No, hippity hoppity, no Kazinti on my property, on Riker's property. It's horrible, man. That's so funny. I don't know. I loved Riker, Deanna, and their daughter. She's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The original cast seem off to me, but the newer ones, the daughter, Soji, Rios, all of them are acting fine. I don't have an issue with the acting. I think they just lost some chemistry over the years, and you know that could be it. Because I never really noticed. So I think that's fair because I never brought it up nor noticed any issues from a chemistry or acting perspective with Hugh. It only was noticeable here. So It's possible that maybe they did just lose some chemistry as actors on set. I think maybe that is. I don't know about a show, but a Ruler versus the Xindi would make a great FPS video game. Riker versus the Xindi. I agree they felt slightly off. I put it to them. We already said that. Star Trek Riker's pizza, Parker, or with or without burnt tomatoes. Frakes needs to get into shape. Frakes, round is a shape. That's fantastic. I'm not making fun of Riker. I'm not saying that's bad that he's put on some weight. I do know that he's got a beard and they're framing it in a way to hide the fact that he's a little bit more rotund, shall we say. But I'm rotund myself. I'm more rotund than he is, but I'm not putting him down. I was just saying that's something that I noticed. They have a couple of ships that look like aeroplanes in this series. Deanna's voice was like very different, but I thought she really was her. I don't know. I really liked this episode. It felt so like nice. This episode was all right. It wasn't the best or worst. Honestly, if I had to gauge it, I'd say it's a 5. Maybe. I don't know. It was the Kzinti. People say it was the Kzinti. I don't believe you. It sounded like Xindi. Why would the Kzinti be out here? That's nowhere near the Kzinti. Where the fuck? See, now y'all are going to make me. It's not Nepenthe, is it? No. Star Trek. Nepenthe. Where is Nepenthe? Star Trek. Where's Nepenthe located? Let's see. Nepenthe was a planet that was located within a range of 40,000 light years from the ardent blah blah blah. 23, the spatial trajectory. Okay, I don't know. Betty still gets more. Oh wow, Trek. I had to read that twice. I'm not going to say it, but Trek Culture, because again, Trek Culture, if you guys don't know, they come from What's Culture. Awesome channel. You guys should check them out. I'll be having one of their hosts on the channel soon. I may actually be also having a producer from Star Trek Discovery. I'm looking forward to that. But so Betty still gets more head turns than us, though, fella, says Trek Culture. When I first read that, I didn't see the turns. So take that sentence and remove the turns. And that's why I stopped for a second. I was like, there's no way Trek Culture would write that. But I agree. I think he gets more head turns than me too. Of course, it's probably just the money because no one can look at this. I mean, even you have to admit Trek Culture. Obviously, you know, I don't have to worry about looking sexy. And I know it. All right, let's get back to the fun. The fun-filled adventure of funness. Oh, so here's another piece, though. I'll talk about this real briefly. There's not a lot to add necessarily. I do think it adds some depth. So you have Soji talking to the girl. It's a good interaction. I like the back and forth between the girl. I think that's done very well. They talk about how she has saliva and mucus and how Data didn't even have mucus, but the girl says he thought that she would if he would that he would do that if he was creating a daughter, because you know he always wanted to be human, so obviously he would make his offspring human if he could, or as human as they could be. It gives more depth to both Soji. It gives more depth to this character, and it really reiterates what Data was all about. I think that it was very enheartening is not a word. It was very heartening, I guess. Very, very warm. It was honoring the character of Data, I think. It also talks about how the girl actually does recognize Picard once she realizes who it is and that he was like an awesome captain, like the best, which is interesting. I don't know why Riker would call him the best when we know that Riker's wife took command of it. Didn't she take command or was it him? I thought she took command at some point. Maybe she didn't. Maybe that's just me rewriting history. But he says that Captain Picard is the best captain. And so she knows of Picard through what she's been told, but not necessarily actually seeing him. So a lot of people got upset of how she initially treated Picard, but I don't think that's out of the realm. And I think it's exactly how you treat a war hero that you didn't grow up with, didn't save you personally, but did save your parents, and you've heard a lot about but don't know. You know? Again, it goes back to World War II. If you had MacArthur or whoever else, even Churchill, and you had someone who was born after the war, who was a preteen who would meet Churchill or any of the others, and she would only know them from what people told, not from memory. It didn't personally impact her, you know? So let's get into endearing is the word I was looking for. Thank you. Let's get into this part of the episode, specifically talking about how they discuss the loss of Riker and Deanna's son. I'm trying to, I don't know. I don't like it because I don't think it makes a lot of sense. So he gets a very rare silicon virus, but because of the ban on like head matrices or whatever, they can't cure him because of this ban, this horrific ban. There's a couple of things to that. First off, we know Starfleet and the Federation keep special circumstances on all things banned. So there are caveats to that. So, for instance, when it comes to gene manipulation, creating invincible humans, augments and stuff, gene therapy and manipulation is banned except to correct vital or fatal illnesses, disabilities, and to heal the child. You can't advance somebody. But gene therapy and manipulation does occur in Starfleet medical areas, Starfleet hospitals. It's only on special circumstances. We know that from Deep Space Nine. In both TNG and Voyager, there have been caveats to things that were absolutely banned. Absolutely 100% banned, except for special situations. That is a bridge too far to me for them to say they wouldn't have special caveats for matrices to save people's lives. Even if Commander O wanted all of them gone, every last one of them, I cannot see the Federation, especially most Vulcans, Beta Zeds, humans, not saying, we're going to have this caveat. We'll destroy it after, but we're going to have this caveat. But let's assume that completely happened. Let's assume that everyone got completely stupid and they said, we're not going to create brain matrices because, I don't know, we're all racists. Let's say that happened. You are telling me that you can't find a Ferengi that can find someone who can do this for you? We'll assume the Romulans can't do it because of the Zhat Vash, that they're so infested there. You're telling me that you can't go outside of the Federation and find someone? There's absolutely no one that'll do that at all? At all. I mean, it is to completely snuff it out is beyond unrealistic to me for even Star Trek. You know? Now, let's talk about the disease itself. The disease itself doesn't make a lot of sense either. Because so it's a silicone based virus. That's weird in and of itself. Especially if a silicon virus is impacting a carbon based life form. Because they shouldn't be able to interact. A silicon based virus would only impact silicon. Anyway, it doesn't. Let's just assume that works. The way they fix it is by cultivating something in the matrices. So I guess they had the original the original androids. So at that point, they did have the matrices to work it within. It's just a weird way of doing it. By the way, 100 people watching this, only 58 likes. Why are you scared of that like button? It's a really weird way of doing it. What do you guys think? I'd love your opinion. I'd be very, very interested in your thoughts when it comes to this. We'll go back up for just a minute, taking a look. I've seen let's see. If this was a reshoot or drop-in scene, maybe they didn't get a lot of rehearsal time. Oh, we're still talking about that. Am I the only one shocked they haven't brought up LOL yet? I think that's interesting. I'll agree. I don't know why they haven't brought up LOL. They probably will at some point. Maybe they did in the first one. They talked about how she was unsuccessful. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they brought her up, though. Maybe I'm wrong on that. No one mentioned Data's android mother. We know she will live the rest of our human lives. That is true. That hasn't come up. Don't know why you're calling me, but I can't talk to you right now unless this is an emergency. Hold on. No. So, sorry guys, give me a second. So they didn't bring up the mother. They really haven't brought up a ton on TNG when it comes to that reference, but I don't know that you have to. It would be intriguing, maybe some drop-ins here and there, but I don't necessarily think you ever have to technically do that. I understand what they were going for here, but it also feels like they are trying to connect everything back to the synth attack /ban, and it's a bit out of control. I'd agree with that, Dix2069. I think they're trying to make it all come from that one specific point. Probably everything will continue to go that way. I think that's a bad step to go as well. I agree. But again, it goes back to the modern writing. It's exactly how modern writing works. Why is every new important character female every single time? Oh yeah, we had a precious boy, but he died because of plot virus. That's unfair, English gent. Elnor, Rios are both males, and they're important characters. I understand what you're trying to say, but that's really unfair, I think. The titular character, the main character, the guy whose name is on the show is a cis white male. So I don't think you guys are being fair here. You mentioned the Ferengi, and it just hit me. We can't see Nog and Picard. Darn, that hit me harder than I thought. Yeah, they were supposed to give some lip service to him and haven't yet. I wonder where that went, because they said they were going to try to mention him. It was a bit unnecessary. They could have just said it was terminal. That would have been enough of an impact. Maybe something to do with living in space his whole life. Yeah, the adding of the silicon-based virus just to make it a part of what the Zodvosh did is not. It was unnecessary. Trek culture. Yeah, I think it was included in the whole Data always wanted a daughter line, but he wanted Lol to choose her own gender. Sure. I don't know. I feel like they talked about Lol. They did not talk about the mother, though. Riker's son got sent a silicon virus from a botched... What is wrong with you, McDudd? What is wrong, sir? Starfleet has access to Data's brother Lore, but they only bring up B4. We don't know what happened to Lore. He could have been destroyed. Deep Space Nine, Quark actually had an episode where he was female. Yeah, he did. That's true. Picard, Rios, and Elnor are 60% of the cast. That's fair. Yeah, here's the thing. Here's what I want to say when it comes to this. I have no interest in really getting in the middle of this fight. I have my own opinions. They're pretty nuanced, meaning both sides get pretty pissed off at me about it. I don't think it's fair to say for Picard at the moment that it's just girl power and that it's an attempt to fight a perceived misogynistic threat and it's become the evil that it hates. I do think, I just don't think that. I don't see that. I don't see Michael is a horrifically written character that does that. I don't see any character in there. Even Soji or Daj are not that way. They have flaws. They're not sure what's going on. They aren't beatable. They have to rely on other people. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. Laura is still in shoeboxes under a bed on the Enterprise D on Viridian 3. He is. They forgot to put him up there. They indeed did forget that. So yeah, I mean, again, if you think that it is, that's fine. I just it was still going. By the way, for you guys watching, something really cool, because this is why I was getting a call. For those who don't know, I'm actually doing a fan film. I've talked about this a couple of times. I've started bringing in the major pieces to that. I'm reached out. I'm getting some crew and they're amateur, but they're actual actors. They're not just random people. And I've started production of the props. And I'm going to have TNG DS9 style phasers and really cool. Oh man, I can't wait to get these things. Epically cool, TNG style phaser rifles. I'm going to be completely honest with you here. These aren't exactly the phaser rifles. They're modified. They look cooler. That you don't see them in any of the other shows. It's like someone took the style and made it. I know it's not 100% to it, but it's so cool. I'm looking forward to getting those things. Oh my God, guys, it is. Oh dude, I'm so excited about that. It's actually happening. I can't believe it's happening. They banned synthetics, yet specialist holograms are still allowed. The Doctor on Voyager was given rights as an artificial. He wasn't given rights as an artificial. So Jared Cullen, let me say this. This isn't specified to you. But this is a frustration that happens. And then I'm going to get to address somebody who I think is taking a shot at me. In that episode, he was given the rights of an artist, but not necessarily complete rights. It was always left open. And so the fact that holograms still may actually not have rights, we don't know. In fact, we see the opposite of it. We do know that they were using holograms as slaves, and they weren't considered real people. So he was never actually fully given rights, but he was recognized as an artist, which apparently is a thing. Apparently you can be specifically recognized as an artist, which who the hell writes that in like a document that's supposed to be like the Constitution? But anyway, so that doesn't happen. A lot of people get confused about that, but go back and rewatch the episode. Now, Grimjaw 333. I really appreciate that you come onto my stream and watch my stuff and have such a lack of a life that you have to specifically make attacks upon me that are completely unfounded if you just watched even 2 of my videos, you could see how you don't know what you're talking about. But I appreciate it. So he says, see, this guy doesn't have real opinions, just gut feelings without real thought, or he hears in film school. And film school is written interestingly. I'm sorry that having a higher education really intimidates you. But don't worry. People will like you for who you are. The fact that you can't even get into film school, which is a pretty low bar, is not something detrimental to you. And I think that you'll feel better once you really feel the touch of a woman. But until then, if you want to attack someone who is getting an education and is learning more and wants to improve themselves, then you can attack me, and I'll be okay with that. And don't worry, buddy. Maybe we can find you someone. If there's any like female or male, I don't know, maybe he wants males in my chat who has very, very low expectations and a low bar for who they'll be with. If you're wanting to do someone who has nothing better in his time to do than attack somebody, then put 1 in the chat and I'll see if I can get you hooked up with Grimjaw 333 so he can fill, what it is to be held by somebody. Because we're here for him. And so just one in the chat, really, really low expectations. I mean, we're talking bottom of the barrel, but maybe we can help this guy out. Maybe we can get him someone. All right, let's keep going. But before we go, we got someone, Sean Grimjaw, a person who is just has such a lack of endowment in the privies that he has to come on and say untrue things on my channel. We've already found you somebody. Oh, is that showing my, my feminism's coming out. I did assume that Grimjaw was male. He could be female. Maybe he's both. All right. Now, let me say this. All right, so let's talk about this character for a second. I could not stand this character at the beginning. I hated the story between this guy and Soji. It really was just them saying, "Hey, Soji exists, so let's give her a love interest," or just remind us that she's there. I could not stand this character. I really couldn't. Worst part of Picard. He's growing on me. Now that he's not like putting on socks and deciding to ice skate around a Borg cube, he actually is starting to have depth, and I'm actually starting to enjoy this character. Now, I want to point something out about this. And I wouldn't have noticed this if it wasn't for film school, because it's the little things that they tell me about it. And I really want to make that very nuanced to you guys. I would have had no idea if it wasn't for the fact that I have a higher education than Grimjaw. If it wasn't the fact that I'm smarter than him because I actually go to school and have a degree, several degrees actually, from different colleges, as well as my high school education, some of the differences between me and Grimjaw. If you watch the scene, they're always giving him something to do with his hands, and he's always playing with something, not always, but he's generally playing with something different that requires use of the mind or use of higher intellect. And it's kind of intriguing because you could tie this back into a couple of things. Perhaps, again, it goes back to showing patience. Remember, he had a conversation about using that Romulan box where it takes patience and intelligence. It could be that. It could be a way of showing how he is playing the long game and is always playing the long game. Because of Discovery, I wouldn't be surprised, at all, if they tied it into perhaps he has to do that to stay centered. Because that it goes back to the social justice thing. I wouldn't be surprised if that was I forget what it is, but what is it? Because remember when kids, maybe it's ADHD, I don't know, where they play with something in their hands, it helps them focus on it. I wouldn't be surprised if they tie it in there. I hope not. I hope it's more just showing his intellect, because every time he's playing with something that requires the use of intelligence to put together, it's like a puzzle. And it just shows that he has a method to his madness. He's methodological, maybe. I learned that one from getting my criminal justice degree, methodological. I wouldn't have known that. I don't come up with ideas on my own. All that to say this, in before Star Trek fidget spinners. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, fidget spinners. Maybe that could be a part of it. But again, I hope it's more showing his intelligence. I really, really do. The character's growing on me, but I don't have more to say than that. They notice that they're being tracked. And here's where the stupid stick comes back in. Because, oh my God, the signs. So they're sitting there trying to get away. They notice the guy. I like the fact that they notice that they're being tracked, that they're not stupid. That is a difference between that and Star Wars. It's like, oh, we're actually being tracked, so let's try to get rid of this guy. They do recognize when they're in danger. So we're dealing with professionals. We're dealing with experts. They don't notice the glaring red flags coming from Agnes, which is just amazing to me. Again, they may try to say that it's her freaking out, and he even says that. He says, I have a paying client. You're just here for the ride, but she's giving a lot of bad vibe. Let's even assume that she's not evil. That this is just weird, and that you have someone who's freaking out. She's a liability. You have someone who wants to go home. That's all she wants to do. She can't handle it anymore. She keeps screaming that she wants to go home. This is a problem. This is a massive problem. You now have a liability on your ship. You have to neutralize that liability. And no, I don't think giving her cake is the best way to do it. What I did think was going to happen though, and they didn't go this route. So as you guys who have watched this know, Rafi goes to take care of her, right? And takes her to get some cake. And she says, Rafi's going to set you up. Rafi's going to take care of you and everything. Honest to God, thought that Rafi was drugging her. One of two reasons. First one was because Rafi never trusted her, so she's drugging her to see if she can get something out, thinking maybe she's has some guilt, and that's where it's coming from, which is correct. That is what's happening. Or more likely, she was just drugging her to calm her down, and then she was going to say something stupid. That didn't happen. But I swear I thought that as soon as she gave her cake, that cake was going to make Agnes think that she was flying with butterflies. As you guys know, Agnes does actually have an education. She went to school, so she doesn't think for herself, obviously. And so maybe she was flying on those clouds and would have an original thought, or gut feeling, because obviously people with educations can be intimidating to those who aren't well endowed, female or male. And so maybe that's where they were going to go with it. But they decided not to. So, Agnes will continue not to have a real opinion because she has an education. Then we have some interactions between Picard and Riker. The cinematography here is excellent, by the way. I love how they put everything. It's really well done. And so we have Picard right here. Trek culture. Yeah, but did she go to film school? Oh my God, I love Trek culture. Oh, dude, I'll tell you, Trek culture, I'm going to make sure that your channel is better than What's Culture. If it's the last thing I do, the most profitable part of What's Culture is going to be your channel. If it's the last thing I do. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, Riker. So I like, the cake isn't real. That's true. So Riker confronts Picard. I actually liked this, though. Again, the lack of chemistry, the loss of chemistry takes away from the impact to some degree. But I did like the way he confronts him here. He goes, I don't know that he could logically have gotten there if he hadn't read the plot. Or the script, but just giving him that, saying that he logically got to the points that he did. I like how he lays everything out, and then he says, you're the one making the plays. You're the one that has everything in mind. You're keeping everything close to the vest. And he says, that's fine when you're on your own ship and you're a Starfleet captain. But now you're not a Starfleet captain, and innocent lives are on the line. And so, I didn't like the follow-up. It's like, you're dealing with a teenager or something like that. But for the most part, I do like the fact that he calls out what's happening and he says, hey, this isn't the good old days. This is something different. So you're going to need help and you're going to have to get it done. I liked the back and forth there. I thought that was really well done. I thought that was a good scene. There's not a ton to add to it. It's just back and forth. And then the next 60 minutes is really a back and forth thing. For some reason, and I don't understand this, for some reason it is really important to the writers to talk about how real food is apparently delicious, like real food that you plant yourself. Sorry, I'm getting a little thirsty. I don't know why this is important to them. We saw this with Maddox. Maddox didn't like the chocolate that the replicators did. Real food apparently tastes better and it tastes real. There might be some kind of vegan or vegetarian or natural bent there. If it is, it's really subtle. And it's the way it's supposed to be done. By the way, well done, Discovery writers, or Picard writers, which are Discovery writers. If you're trying to say natural is better, then this is the way you write it. You don't write a cis heterogendered male saying that a woman who eats aliens is not racist enough. That's not the way to do it. But if you're going to do it, subtlety like this is the way to do it. I don't think it's right. I don't think it bears out in the evidence. I do think that replicated matter tastes the exact same. What I would say is that when you know that it's replicated or you know that it's real, that the placebo effect comes into mind, and that's why you think it tastes better. Another issue here is if she's an android, why does she need to eat? I assume she has all those anatomical functions, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So she has to eat because she gets hungry. Her body gets rid of the waste. I assume in the same way everybody gets. I assume it looks the same because that would be a telltale sign. And she's a woman, so every month, do we still have that issue? Can she get pregnant? She has blood. She has everything else. I'm assuming not. We know she has mucus. I don't know. There's a lot of questions to that. I don't think they need to be answered necessarily. But there are quite a ton of intriguing questions to that. We'll leave that to people who don't go to film school though, because film school didn't tell me how to do that, which you understand. All right, hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. So, Soji says, I don't know what's going on. I don't think any of this is necessarily real. I don't, you're just trying to trick me. Picard comes up and says, yep, you're absolutely right. He literally says that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're trying to trick you. This is all an illusion. We're trying to get all of your information. She gets up and gets pissed, and he gets in her way and prevents her from leaving. She then pushes him out of the way. And he points out that may be a good step. He could have killed him. She could have killed him, and she didn't. Why are you doing something so stupid? Again, he pulled out that twig, and he said, hey, I've been to film school. He said, hey, I haven't been to film school, so I'm going to hold up this twig and do something incredibly dumb, because that's what someone from what film school would do, because they just do gut reactions, right? And so she pushes him out of the way. This confrontation didn't need to happen. What's up, beautiful?
The iPad's dead.
Oh, no. Okay. Hey, why don't you finish that up and then try to lay down for a little bit, okay? You need to take a nap. Come here, give me a hug. Do you need anything?
I'm done with this.
Are you done with that? Here, we'll put it right here. Do you need anything else?
No.
No?
I found my Olaf.
You what?
I found my Olaf.
You found Olaf?
Yeah.
I didn't know Olaf was missing. Are you tired? Why don't you get some sleep?
Okay.
Lay down, try to get some sleep. I'll come check on you in a minute, okay?
Okay.
I love you.
Love you.
You're awesome.
I know.
You know you're awesome? Well, it's good. You'll always be awesome. Don't let anyone take that from you, okay?
Yeah.
No matter what someone says, you're always awesome.
Or something a stranger would take that.
Yeah, don't let strangers or bullies take that.
Yeah.
Okay. Love you.
Love you.
Let me know if you need anything.
Okay.
I think Pumpkin's going to check on you. He's like, let's go. Let's go lay down. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Mwah. All right, so back to what we were talking about. So Picard says he's from film school, holding the idiot twig, and gets in her way and confronts her for no reason. He's called out by Deanna, and Deanna says, this is not an officer you're dealing with. This is a teenage girl. Let us help you. Let's handle this over dinner. Let's try to figure this out. And so, I don't know why they did that to Picard. Picard is a diplomat. He put treaties together. He brought people together, and ensured that destruction didn't happen and stopped entire wars. Why he has no idea how to interact with this person is just not realistic. The only way to explain it is the fact that he has the syndrome and that he's getting old and that he's lost what he had. And so it just makes no sense for him to be acting in this way, at least to me. Perhaps it just doesn't make any sense to me. It just really doesn't. I don't know. Unless we're assuming the syndrome, right? So before we move on, we're going to start actually talking about the Borg thing, because I missed a couple of scenes. But do you guys have anything you want to add when it comes to that? Any points? Has Grimm actually talked, or was it like a drive-by? Is he one of those spectacular individuals? Because one of those brave people who are actually talking, or did he just leave after that? Okay, so 7 of 9 is going to interface with that cube and become what? 9 of 10? Yes. Conscious Farmer, that's exactly what happened. That you nailed it. To be fair, DS9 did the same thing with real food. They talked about real food, Klaus, and I thought of that. You were talking about how what's his name? He hated the Federation, hated Starfleet, became Maquis. He is the one with the famous line about how Starfleet is like the Borg. I forget his name. You guys are going to be yelling it out, I know. But yeah, I mean, he said he liked homegrown stuff. But again, I think that's the placebo effect. I don't think there's anything behind that. Replicated food would also taste the same regardless how many times you replicate a tomato, but a fresh tomato off the vine, some are more tart, some sweeter. Jared Cullen, I think there is some truth to that. It would taste the same, but it would, so there are variables that can impact it, but I don't know that it would taste real or better or worse. Hope you're having a good day out there, everybody. Jesus Christ be with you. Yeah, she doesn't make sense. Positronic brain and an organic body, but without the fragility of an organic body. There is some fragility there. Trek Culture actually went to film school, though. He had a short film in Cannes, too, which means that, unfortunately, Trek Culture doesn't have original opinions. That's just sad. Hauntus Farmer, thanks for the quality content. Don't say that word. Okay, well, I won't say it, I guess. I don't want to get into this, Tom Newton, but that's not Chris Nolan saying no film school, Ryan Johnson saying yes film school. It's not exactly. I know you're just joking around, but man, there's more to it than just that. Especially when you move out of producer and, well, I wouldn't even say director. Maybe director. Maybe when you move out of producer and director and you look at the crew, their film school is vital. It doesn't matter. Hugh mentioned the Romulans haven't seen the full power of the cube from the Queen's chamber. He could use it. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Grimjaw did not. Grimjaw has left, I guess. Well, that's just sad. It's a sad day. All right. Morning, and this latest episode was totally reworked. As Kurtzman was stated at a podcast, they had to fill in gaps after it was finished beforehand. I don't know. I don't know about that. I haven't heard that. All right. Let's talk about what's going on in the Borg Cube. I think that's the best part of this entire episode. So we get back to Hugh. I can't believe I missed this. And some interesting things happening here. So you have Hugh being threatened. They're acting like they're going to hurt him. Interestingly enough, the Zhat Vash, the Tal Shiar, the Romulans actually are worried about hurting a Federation citizen. Here's an interesting piece about that, because I want you to break that down. Remember in TNG and DS9, especially DS9, in TNG, you would have enemies kill entire colonies, destroy entire Federation colonies, and still get away with it in some degree. The Dominion destroyed the USS Odyssey, and Starfleet was like, we still want to be your friend. Can we please kiss your boots? Please, God, don't hurt us. Please, God, don't hurt us. Do you like that? We're from film school. We don't have any ideas. We just want to be... Do you want us on our knees? We bought new knee pads for you, Dominion. We bought new knee pads. So Starfleet let you get away with literal murder in TNG and in DS9. The original series, they were a little more tough. They didn't really take that very kindly. In Picard, she's worried because he's a Federation citizen, and if he gets hurt, then apparently Starfleet is going to freak the hell out. Not because it's Hugh, but because it's a Federation citizen. Has Starfleet become so brutal that hurting one Federation citizen means that you will have the power of God upon you? This honestly reminds me of a West Wing episode where they talk about, West Wing talking about Rome. Starfleet reminds me of Rome to a degree when it comes to that. Because Rome, at the height of their power, at least from my understanding of history, maybe I'm wrong, but one of the most powerful things you could tell a person is that you were a Roman citizen. Because Roman citizens, if they were hurt, that was a very bad day for you and your people. And that seems like what this is trying to say, that you're a Federation citizen. If you get hurt by somebody, that's a very bad day. Starfleet is not going to screw around about this. Even one Federation citizen getting hurt means that people going to die. That's interesting. I don't think that's what they meant to say. I don't think that was the point of that. I think they needed a reason not to kill him off initially. But that's the conclusion of it. That's where we go with it. So she can't hurt him, so she starts killing Borg, which are not Federation citizens, which just completely destroys him. And that's interesting. His reaction to it, I don't know. I get that he would be hurt and that he would have a lot of pain. It feels, I want to say overreaction, but it's not. Maybe it was just the way it was filmed and cut, because he's on the floor crying. I'm not sure. Genuine question, how's film school? Film school is going really well. I love film school, man. I'd suggest it for anyone who wants to go into film. It has increased the quality on YouTube so much, and there's just, I love it. I'm not going to love paying for the parts I can't pay for, but I love what I love right now. It is excellent. And I have a very high GPA I intend to keep. So let's move to the other parts. Basically, you have Hugh. Hugh is saved by Elnor. And come on. Wait for it. Hugh is saved by Elnor. And basically, Elnor just disappeared. And I guess they did that on purpose. Elnor went into hiding. They captured Hugh. And ultimately, Hugh's like, you know what? Let's go back to the Queen's chamber, and let's make sure that the Romulans can never use this place again. Let's screw some people up. Let's make sure that they don't go down with a fight, or that they go down fighting. Interestingly enough, they keep showing us the badges. You remember the badges that when they start blinking green, people are supposed to run? I'm calling it right now, using my film school gut feeling. When Elnor is going to activate the cube, all of the scientists and all of the Romulans are going to see their badge start glowing green, and they're all going to become one with the collective. That's happening. I can tell you. Yeah. So they keep moving forward. And of course, there's some major spoilers here. But if you guys are watching this, I assume that you are going to have spoilers. You have a fight between the Zat Vash and the whatever hell, the elven, the elven fighting people of fightingness. He does the please friend choose to live. I'm not showing this though. Hold on, I'm trying to get it there. This is not how Zat Vash fights the whatever, the tribe of elven killers of death. I do like the fighting scene. I like how Elnor fights her. It's a defensive style. He uses his surroundings. He's fighting someone who has a ranged weapon. Well, he was. This isn't that scene anymore. And then he uses the body. I don't know if the dude's dead, but she has a gun trained on him, and so he just uses the body. He's about to use the body to defend himself. I really think the dude is dead, and so he's basically using a carcass, a corpse, as a shield, which is excellent. It's horrible. It's everything wrong that we have when it comes to Star Trek, but it is excellent. I wish he had continued to use the body. Basically, Chick says, this isn't how we fight elves. We don't fight them with long-range weapons. We fight them hand to hand. Not exactly sure why. Zat Vash and the Tal Shiar aren't exactly people who fight fairly. So why she would stop using that, I don't think it really gave her an advantage. It does allow her to kill Hugh, but how would she wasn't aware of Hugh at that time. And I don't see how she could have played the long game on that. I really don't. I also, and here's the thing, she brings out what is a hair clipper, I guess, and hits Hugh and kills him, right? So I don't see why she goes hand to hand. She doesn't know where Hugh is at the time. He comes back because he's stupid. She then pulls out a hair clip, which causes Elnor to be like, holy hell, you've got a hair clip. I didn't know I was fighting someone with a hair clip. And so he freezes. She uses the hair clip to kill Hugh. It just seems very convenient. There doesn't seem to be a lot of tie in there. I didn't understand why that happened. And then he looks over. He's like, oh God, Hugh, did you not know that she had a hair clip? Who doesn't know? Also, Hugh should not have stayed there. Hugh should have went and got to the Borg Queens, whatever. That is not how that should have went down. Yeah. And so then they continue. He's like, oh my God, oh no. You used the power of a hair clip to kill Hugh. And so he rushes over to Hugh. He takes out the hair clip and he's like, I'll use the hair clip on you. Now the weapon of death becomes the ally of death. And of course he throws the hair clip. She beams out because of course she does. And he's sitting here talking with Hugh. Now, I'm not a medical professional, so I don't know. It looks like she hit his artery right there. He's holding it so he can still talk. When he moves his hand, that's when the death comes. So I don't know why he couldn't continue holding it, or Elnor couldn't use, I don't know, something to tie around his neck, or I don't know. Maybe there was some kind of poison in the hair clip, because you guys know hair clips are usually doused in poison. I don't like the fact that he died or how he died. Honestly, it's not the most heroic way to go about things. Him dying is something that I think is reasonable. I may not like it. I wanted the character to continue, but it's not bad for the story. It does somewhat push the story forward. But Hugh is like, hey, you are you're our last hope. You need to find a XB and you need to get into the Queen's quarters, the Queen's whatever Hey, did you know we're going to see 7 of 9 in the next episode? I'm sure that's not related at all. You need to find someone to take control of the Borg Collective. And I'm sure the fact that we see 7 of 9 in the next episode isn't going to play a big part in that. Yup. You know, it'd be interesting talking about that. We're talking about the Destroyer of All, the Activator of All. What if it never was Soji, but it was 7? What if she's the Destroyer? Ah. All right. I'll stop that. Hoj Simpson helping out the channel. We'll take a look at that in just a second. So here's where you have her giving her the cake and everything. I honest to God thought that cake was going to be drugged to. And one of the things is that you see that Agnes was kind of trepidatious. She didn't want to eat the cake. I thought maybe she figured out, and I was hoping it was this. I was hoping Rafi was smarter than she actually was and was getting her drugged to find out what was actually going on. And maybe that's why Agnes wasn't eating the cake, because Agnes was weary of it. Then we have her throwing up. Second time we've watched her throwing up. Because when I want to look at Star Trek, I want blonde, evil people who kill others, stupid, naive people throwing up. That's like top tier. I love it. I love it so much. It's so incredibly sexy. So her throwing up, I thought maybe she was going to throw up all of the tracking material or whatever, but apparently that didn't happen either. She just threw up because she throws up, because that's what it is. Then when she throws up, hold on. Wait for it. When she throws up, nobody questions what's going through her mind or why all of this is impacting. And then Rafi calls out and says, I have a hospitality emergency, and the thing doesn't come up. And I thought, oh man, maybe she did disable the hologram. Maybe that's what happened. She disabled the hologram. Rafi's going to realize, wait a second, why isn't the hologram appearing? This is really weird. We have Agnes acting all kinds of like crazy, and the hologram doesn't appear. The hologram appears if your heart rate spikes, and the hologram isn't appearing when she's throwing up. That's really weird. So I wonder what's going on, and start putting things together. Obviously, that's not what Rafi did, because that would be an intelligent way to write the character, especially for someone who is in intelligence and didn't trust Agnes to begin with. You definitely don't want her picking up on those clues, because that would be ridiculous right there. Rios comes and says, we're being tracked. He's still following us. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is happening. There's no way he's supposed to be able to be tracking us. The world is coming to an end. I don't get it. I don't understand. We're all doomed. If only we had a hair clip, maybe. Look at that. Look at that sexiness. Look at that. Oh, yum. What if you were right under that with your mouth open? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I hate some parts of this series so much. I hate it. I hate everything about it. All right. So we have the dinner table with, well, before we get into that scene, I'll take a second and see what you guys think. What you guys feel about the pure effing hubris. But before that, let's look at any kind of super chats or anything that's helping with that. And then we'll look at your comments, specifically your comments. Hoj Simpsons, again, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Picard chemistry with Riker and Troy works pretty fine, and I was glad to see it, but I'm still skeptical about the series. They try to be the Expanse. Okay. I don't think they had good chemistry, or I think they had diminished chemistry, but if you think they had good chemistry, well, there you go. It was morning sickness, says Nateric, talking about Agnes. Oh God, I hope not. I hope they don't. Oh man. Oh God. All right. So honestly, I just don't like the fact that the characters are acting naive. I think they're smarter than that. but I'd be curious what your opinions are. Does Commodore O performing a mind meld mean she is actually Vulcan? Or can Romulans literally do anything in Kurt's trick? Well, first off, Kurt's trick, you can say that all you want. It doesn't change anything. I think it would confirm she's Vulcan. I don't think Romulans can. Maybe they can. I don't think Romulans can. Trek culture may know. But I don't think so. I swear the blonde has morning sickness after being impregnated. Maybe. Maybe we'll get lucky and Scott Pilgrim will just kill his former drummer in a show of quarters because she also dated his girlfriend, because forget logic sometimes. If they brought Scott Pilgrim into it, I think that could add to it. What are you doing, buddy? No, that is not yours. That belongs to a sick child. That is not yours. No, Geordi or Hugh or Data, he was friends for both of them, would have been more emotional if he was here. I agree, but they're not going to bring... I would be surprised. I don't think they're bringing Geordi in for season 1. But maybe. But, I mean, did you guys have anything to add to that or not really? That's part of the issue with this, is that there's not a lot of... It's a lot of talking. There's not a lot of action, and there's not a ton to break down. Are you still trying to... Do not. It's not yours. Don't go for it. Yeah, Del Arco's character acted the best in the show. I'd agree with that. Rios is a hologram. All of them are. That's true. They're all holograms. We never see... Well, we do see him off the ship, I think. Do you think Brent Spiner could come back as Lore? I think he's... Brent Spiner has gained weight and is definitively older, and I think if they bring him back, it's going to break the fourth wall for a lot of people. As long as you can accept that he's going to look different, I wouldn't hate it, but I don't know if they're bringing him back. I don't even know. I don't even know is what I'm trying to say. I can't even. All right. So we have a dining scene that's going on. We have a dining scene, and it's the best dining scene ever. It's huge. It's a huge dining scene. And, a lot of people like the dining scene. I don't like the dining scene, but a lot of people like the dining scene. Experts like the dining scene, but you can't guess who I'm making fun of just then. All right. And Picard tries to talk to her as a person. He says, listen, look at my eyes, listen to my breath, listen to my heart. Apparently now she can hear all of that and didn't realize that that's not normal. That people generally shouldn't be able to analyze someone's dilation of the eyes, somebody's heartbeat, and the way they're breathing just instantly. But maybe she's activated at this point and can accept it. I don't know. If they did that, they breezed over it. Because her realizing she's an android, they've given us no evidence that she's actually activated. And so, I don't know. I doubt it. But apparently somehow she knew it. And so she's like, I believe that Picard believes that he's here, but this all could still be a trap. I mean, I don't blame her. She was lied to by this guy. This dude played the long game. I don't think it's really unreasonable for her not to trust anybody. The only thing that in this that seems like, here's the thing. Writers, when it comes to writing this story, the Picard/Discovery writers are not doing it the way... They're not taking tips. They're not taking cues from how writing happens in a standard regard. They don't... It doesn't feel like they're following the hero's journey. It doesn't feel like they're effectively utilizing Chekhov's gun or any of the other ways to write a story. The young chick right here, I forget, what do we call her? D&D character? Red herring girl. The red herring daughter talks about this captain she continues talking to. He's brought up 3 or 4 times throughout the episode, and he's even the one that gives them all of the information. Now, if this was a standard way of writing, a way most people enjoy and a proven entity, I would say that it's brought up so many times that this character is going to be important. This person we never see. The that this captain is going to play a vital role, or at least some kind of marginal role that we're gonna see. Because of the way Picard's writers go about things, I won't be surprised if we never hear about him again. What I would say now, if this was standard way of writing, a way of keeping depth and intrigue, I would almost bet money that this captain that she's talking about was the pirate that they fought off, that was in the Romulan ship. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to bring them together like that. But if they intend to do something, if they intend to link this character, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be the pirate. And the pirate knows where they're going, and they're going to get jumped again. One point I'll do here, I know some have not liked me going to chat. I really, really hope they'll turn it around. When Troy told Picard that he finally has to be Jean-Luc Picard, maybe a beacon of hope that we will get a bit of utopia in the end. They may go utopian in the end, maybe. This is not the first time Picard says he needs to be the captain. That's a recurring theme. We saw that from his caretakers. Rios said it, Rafi said it. Every couple of episodes, they come back and say, you need to be the captain. And he consistently seems to fail. So, I don't know. By the way, guys, if you're going to ask me a question, because of the delay, you have to ask the question with it. So, if you're asking me, what are you talking about? Please refer to the last statement I said so they know what you're referring to. What's up, beautiful?
I don't know how to sleep.
You don't know how to sleep?
Yeah.
How do you not know how to sleep? What about the concept of sleeping is confusing?
I tried to sleep.
You tried to sleep? What did you do?
I tried to sleep.
How?
I closed my eyes.
Okay, so you do know how to sleep. You get the concept.
And I woke up by a horrible nightmare.
What was the nightmare?
By monsters trying to hurt me.
What monsters?
Dangerous monsters.
Dangerous one? All you gotta do is karate kick them and they go away.
I don't know how to do.
You don't know how to karate kick?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Look. Just you see. So when a monster's coming, you go. Boom.
That was I was trying to do on the but I was gonna go slow motion with that.
Okay. Well, I'm here, so there's no monsters that's gonna hurt you. Okay. How about we do this? How about you go get your pillow? I'm almost done here. Go get your pillow. Go lay on the couch, and then we'll try to go sleep after I get in here.
Okay.
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 You wanna say hi to the people?
Hi.
Say what's up, people. You are a heater, girl. Got a couple more hours before I can give you some more medicine.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you.
Go get your pillow and lay on the couch, okay?
Okay.
So, I don't think they're going to be, as you guys can tell, I'll be finishing this one a little bit earlier. I don't think the captain is going to come back up, but that's what I would do. I would tie it in like that. Moving forward just a little bit. This is the dumbest thing I hate. I hate so much. I hate this. This is the worst scene of all. So I thought Rios was going to confront her. I thought he was going to be like, look, I know something's going on. Something's weird with you. We're being tracked. I know you're connected. I don't know how you're connected, but I know you're connected. Because I'm not stupid. Rios is stupid. Rios is incredibly stupid. Rios thinks it's Rafi. Now, Rios' opinion, his reasoning, isn't stupid. Initially. But all the other counter evidence for it being Agnes overrides Rafi. Rafi goes missing on Cloud 9 or wherever they were, and then comes back and is like, oh, I didn't want to leave. Okay, I can kind of see him being like, it's kind of weird. But Agnes has been doing all kinds of crazy stuff that seems odd. Just like insane stuff. And then Agnes basically admits it in front of him. And then Rios goes back and says, I still think it's you, Rafi. what is wrong with you? What is wrong? What about you do the writers not like? Why would they make you so? You must, and what it is, I know that comes down to is that he went to film school, because that's the only way that someone of would be that dumb, would be a film school student. No, he's stupid because he did go to film school. That's exactly what it is. And I do agree with DX. He may be thinking due to things adults like to do. Yeah, and that's another point. He knows Raffi. He knows her from way back. Why would he not trust her but trust Agnes? Again, it's going back to, it could be the fact that he wants her as a partner, but it's still just dumb. Agnes all but admits it, and he still thinks it's Raffi, which is crazy. She then has some issues and kills herself. So here's the thing, not kills herself, but puts herself in a coma. There's a couple of things to this. First off, and yeah, look at that. Look at that. How would you like to be just right under her with your mouth open? Wouldn't that just be sexy? Like you could just lick it. I hate some things about this series. I hate some things about this series so much. I cannot stand this series. All right. What's up, beautiful?
Can I watch TV?
Can you watch TV? Mm-hmm. That's not going to help with your sleeping.
But I like TV.
So this is a long game, isn't it? So you didn't even have any nightmares about it. You just won't watch TV.
Yeah.
Did you even dream about nightmares? Did you even have monsters you were fighting off? I caught you. There were no monsters fighting off, was there?
I want to watch TV.
I didn't say you didn't want to watch TV. I'm saying you're playing me like a fiddle.
No.
They all can see it.
No.
There's like 100 people who can see it, and they're like, there were no monsters.
No, like I was trying to sleep, and some monsters were going after me, and I want to watch TV so it can help me sleep.
TV is not going to help you sleep. You know that, right?
No.
Come here. Watch TV for a little bit, and then we're going to go to bed, okay?
Okay.
You need some sleep.
Okay.
What color were the monsters?
Blue.
Blue
And purple.
and purple. Your favorite colors?
Yeah.
Okay. Love you. So, here's the thing about Agnes. There's going to be some background noise, guys. I apologize. So, here's the thing about Agnes. And the thing that frustrates me, I guess. Agnes somehow knows how to create something that's going to hurt her. She knows something that's going to cause pain to her instantly. Now, in the book, it explains that Agnes was a doctor. There's nothing in Picard, there's nothing in this series that shows us that she's a doctor. We have no reason to know or believe how she has all this information. She just seems to instantly know it. Like a medical doctor, not a doctor who goes into physics or anything like that, or robotics. There's very little explanation of why this is, and it's breaking to me. I shouldn't have to go and read extra stuff. I shouldn't have to go to a book to understand why she can do what she can do. Also, another piece here is we see the doctor or hologram appear. He's like, oh my God, what's going on? So she didn't disable him. So what I thought was going to be excellent writing, what I thought was going to be just well done, well thought out, precision in storytelling, none of it makes any sense. Why didn't he appear when she was having issues? Why doesn't he contacts the captain and says she's in a coma. Why didn't he do that when she killed someone? Why isn't he bringing up the fact that she killed someone? This is a huge plot hole. It makes no sense. Maybe they'll explain it later, but for right now, there's no reason for this to happen. I have no reason to believe she has the ability to know how to kill herself or to stop the tracker. And I don't know why he's not telling all of it that's going through. It makes no sense. As we see there, we have Elnor. He sees this symbol. I'm not 100% what that is. I think that's a communicator. He grabs it. He grabs it and is going to go find an XP. We see 7 of 9 coming in the future. I wonder if there's any connection there. I have no idea, as it were. And then, I'm trying to think if there's anything crazy. We have them saying goodbye. Ultimately, when Agnes goes into a coma, they stop getting tracked. Rios isn't going to pick up on that. I promise you Rios isn't, because Rios has the dumb stick. And they now go off on their adventure, leaving these two behind. Overall, the episode was a typical Picard episode. It doesn't break continuity with Star Trek. It doesn't do anything for Star Trek or continuity. It's a 5 out of 10. It's a normal episode. There's nothing here that's gained. It's concerning. It's the 7th episode and we're still treading water. Why are we simply treading water here? I don't know. Also, why wouldn't there be cameras in the medical bay? That's a good point. A lot of this doesn't make sense. I don't completely understand it. With Rio still suspecting Rafi, you forgot racism exists in this world. Rafi is black. That's dumb. I'm sorry, Haunted Farm. I don't mean that in an insulting way. I don't think he's racist in this instance. I don't think it has anything to do with racism. I really don't. There's no evidence of that. It's possible, I guess, but I don't know. I don't think so. It happened off screen. That's not her foaming. Ugh, that's Rios. You're disgusting, sir. Disgusting. I liked how the theme played when Troy said that, when Troy talked. Yeah, they played the TNG theme pretty well, I think, throughout at different points. I'm not sure, guys. Why would a 10-foot fall Wookiee live with... What are you guys talking about? The tag is the same kind of 7 of 9 gave to Picard if she need him. Oh, okay, so that's how he brings her there. So it's a Ranger tag. So he's going to activate that and she's going to come up. Gotcha. I'm scared for 7 in the next. It looked like she was getting assimilated again. I think she's becoming... the queen. You know? All right, guys. I am going to end it here a little bit early. Sorry I pushed the end, but my little one needs me. I think she just needs some dad time, watch a little bit of TV, and then we got to go to sleep. I got to assure her those monsters are not going to get to her, because they're not. Though I think she wanted to watch TV. I'm not convinced there were monsters. Maybe there were. You never know. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. No video today. Hopefully video tomorrow, but as you can tell, I got sick little ones, so it's all going to be what I can do with them. And I will see you on the next.